So, Dr. Burns, having been elected by your peers to serve as president of the Richmond Academy of Medicine, do you affirm that you will faithfully execute all duties and responsibilities to the best of your ability?
I will.
Having affirmed for the members of the Academy your acceptance of your responsibilities, my privilege to present you this presidential gavel and to install you as president of the Richmond Academy of Medicine for the years 2020, our 200th year, and 2021. May your tenure prove to benefit our members, the community, and the patients we serve.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Thank you all. It is my pleasure to invite the 2020 board trustees who will serve with me to come forward for their installation. Dr. Sidney Jones, Vice President, Dr. Tovia Smith, Secretary, Dr. Jake O'Shea, Treasurer, Dr. Peter Buckley, Trustee, Dr. Alice Coombs, Trustee, Dr. Ike Ebay, Trustee, Dr. Ranjo Gill, Trustee, Dr. Quinn Lipman, Trustee, Dr. Michael Menon, Trustee, Dr. Joynita Nicholson, Trustee, Dr. Erica Royal, Trustee, Dr. Jonathan Schaff, Trustee, Dr. Maggie Sigmund, Trustee, Miss Zoe, Student Trustee, and Mr. Matthew Alexander, Student Trustee. Having been elected by your peers to serve as trustees of the Academy, do you affirm you will faithfully execute all duties and responsibilities to the best of your abilities? Having affirmed for the members of the Academy your acceptance of your responsibilities, it is my privilege to install you as officers, trustees of the Richmond Academy of Medicine. May your tenure prove to benefit our members, the community, and the patients we serve. Congratulations and best wishes. Members of the Academy and special guests, please join me in welcoming the 2020 board. Thank you, trustees. You may be seated. Good evening and welcome. I'm extremely humbled and certainly a bit nervous to be standing here in front of you. 2 years ago, when I was sitting out there, I stared at the podium and I looked at the podium for a while and then I actually read it. And at that moment, I realized that this year would be a huge milestone, the 200th anniversary of the Richmond Academy. I got goosebumps. 2 years later, and here we are. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I got here. I'm a native of northeastern Ohio, where I grew up on a farm. I was raised by my mother, who was widowed when I was just 2 years old. She was a very strong, courageous woman, a school teacher, and her motto was, "Education is everything." So, giving those values, I excelled in high school, although it was a country school. I became interested in medicine at a very early age, and despite no physicians in our family, one of my 3 brothers and myself went to medical school. I started in a 6-year BSMD program in northeastern Ohio, but having met the love of my life as a freshman in college, I transferred in the middle of medical school to the University of Pittsburgh. It was there where, as an intern, I found my passion for cardiology from the head of the department. Despite significant hearing difficulties, he heard perfectly through his stethoscope, and he could mimic all the heart sounds amazingly well. I convinced my husband we needed to leave and go somewhere else for my fellowship. I was recruited to VCU, and we've been in Richmond ever since. When asked why I wanted to pursue a career in such a male-dominated field, I always answered, well, I have 3 older brothers. Certainly I know how to handle men. I may have underestimated that a little bit. I'd like to thank my family for the support over these many years. As a working mother trying to accomplish the perfect work-life balance, which we all know is never perfect. Here tonight are my children, Emily and Madeline, and I'm missing my youngest daughter. I'm missing my youngest daughter who lives in Austin, and my husband, Brian. And also here tonight is a dear friend, one of my first friends I made in Richmond, who's remained so ever since, Jennifer. I'd like to thank Dr. Walter Lawrence for escorting me to the podium.
Thank you.
What an example he has set and continues to set for all physicians. I'm going to try to live up to it. All of our former presidents, thank you for your continued loyalty and your commitment to the Academy. I'd like to express my gratitude to our distinguished visitors who brought well wishes. I appreciate your support and look forward to working with you. I'd also like to thank those who are here tonight, perhaps at one of their first Academy meetings, to support me. I am very thankful you're here, but be prepared. I'm going to call you to come back. And I also need to thank Peter Zedler, who was persistent in convincing me to serve in this role. And my final thank you goes to the amazing staff of the Academy, led by Jim Beckner, who make everything happen here. For the last 2 years, I've had the privilege of chairing a task force called Vision 2020, comprised of members and staff and our own local medical historian who have planned what will be, I think, a meaningful and enlightening year of education and celebration. This is the year you won't want to miss a meeting. The next meeting will cap the work of our history writing group, a documentary about the history of the Academy. These are the members and staff that work tirelessly to bring this to fruition. And here is a short clip from the program.
The Medical Society of Virginia surprised some of its older members when a small group of attendees at the opening session of the 1895 annual meeting in Whitville voted to accept Dr. Emily Runyon as a member.
As random member, Dr. John N. Upshur declared,
I am very much opposed to having female doctors. The highest court in our land has refused to admit women to the bar, and this is a good example for us to follow. in the medical profession.
Rand had previously denied her membership, expressing among other concerns that new radicalism would be introduced. But this daughter of a physician and a woman suffragist was not to be denied.
Emily Chenault Runyon arrived in Virginia following the death of her husband. An 1888 graduate of the Women's Medical College of Chicago, Runyon passed the Virginia Medical Board in May of 1895. Her journey to membership at RAM would take 15 years. Reflecting on this challenge, she later commented,
"It's a wonder I have any hands at all after banging on a stone wall to make a hole for women to creep through."
RAM accepted Runyon into the membership in 1910 without any opposition.
65 years after membership was open to both genders, Dr. Carolyn McHugh became the first woman to serve as president.
It's going to be an excellent meeting, I'm sure. In the fall, we will then turn our attention to the future, where we will hear from Dr. Daniel Kraft, who will address the future of health, medicine, and technology. Our final meeting of the year will conclude our salute to 200 years. We will host a grand gala at Main Street Station to include dinner, music, and dancing. Like I said, you won't want to miss a meeting this year. For any organization to survive 2 centuries is an unbelievable accomplishment. From the initial group of 17 doctors who traveled by horseback, met over candlelight to discuss their experiences and share their knowledge, we have become a vast and diverse group of physicians of all types, participating in making the health of our patients our priority. This is definitely something worth celebrating. I want to take a look at how the Academy got to this point. It's a question I've thought about for some time. How did a disparate group of physicians manage to steer this Academy through epidemics, health crises, major wars, both foreign and domestic, even in our own backyard? Power plays between physicians, health systems, and the myriad of outside forces that has become healthcare. I realize that there's only one answer: us. The desire to improve the health of the patients that we have pledged an oath to care for has kept us in the fight. In the past, when vaccines needed to be administered, our predecessors rolled up their sleeves and found a way. When water sanitation needed to be improved, they applied the pressure on officials to make sure it happened. And when someone went off to fight a war, those that stayed behind saw their patients and even shared their wages. We, of course, did not accomplish this alone. We have had a support from many sources. The staff from RAM is superb and knows what we need to know before we know we need it, truly. The health systems have been major supporters of our endeavors over the years, and we have had many generous sponsors of meetings, events, and speakers. But the ideas and the decisions that have been made along the way have been in our hands. Those who have led before have had vision and courage, and they have continued to participate long after they've stopped caring for patients. Many of them are in this room tonight. This type of institutional involvement and memory over the decades has made this a very solid organization. Some of the Academy's accomplishments in the last few decades can be heralded as brilliant and life-changing. As already mentioned, consider CCVS, the credentialing service. It streamlined the process to make it less onerous for doctors to get privileges. Prior to its formation, you had to fill out an application for every hospital at which you wished to practice. Now it's one form for all. As you're aware, Access Now, founded by the Academy, has provided uninsured patients with millions of dollars worth of specialty care, partnering with you, the hospital systems, and the area free clinics. Honoring Choices Virginia, which gives us and our patients a platform to plan for their care before they reach end of life, was brought to Richmond by your Academy. RIPE in RVA is a program for our new-to-practice physicians to network with others, participate in family-oriented social events, and learn about advocacy. This program won a national award for its engagement of younger physicians. And RAM now sponsors a VCU medical student through an endowed scholarship. Our strong legislative work, both with the legislature in session and in small discussions prior to session, as well as with MSV, is vital to protecting our profession and our patients. And don't forget the parking cards. This is not a comprehensive list by any means, but I think it gives you the sense of what RAM has become in this community. What about our future? The first medical society, the Royal Academy of Surgeons, was formed in Paris, France in 1731. And the first U.S. medical society was created in the late 1700s. But in general, medical societies overall have declined and some have closed. We now have specialty societies which are a bit more robust, but they're often closely aligned with making sure that we are not hit by regulations that unfairly or financially detrimental. And they're often not as focused on our patients' interests. There are many who believe that medical societies are more important now than ever before. Steve Levine, in his inaugural address to the American Association of Medical Society Executives in 2018, laid out several reasons why they must continue. For our patients who are paying more and getting less. For us to have a larger voice at the table when discussing value. Our current time expenditure on data entry. We are now the highest paid data entry workforce on the planet. So says Jim Madero, the CEO of the AMA. To be able to overcome obstacles posed by physician employers, insurance company, and others who wish to control our practices, and to have a greater voice in the large disruptions to come, technology and automation. In his August 2019 New Yorker article, Dr. Eric Topol also espoused the need for physicians to rise up with a unified voice. As a resident, he actually witnessed a strike by interns and residents to protest a disastrous nursing shortage. It worked. And while most physicians are not unionized, employed physicians, which now make up the majority, are able to do so and have across the country. Topol counts physician burnout, burdensome administrative tasks, and decreased time spent on doctor-patient interaction as some of the difficulties we face day to day. His question is, why are we not pushing back and standing up for ourselves? At our spring membership meeting last year, Dr. Wendy Dean and Dr. Simon Talbot discussed physician distress, calling it moral injury, not physician burnout. There are 3 points to take back the disempowerment of physicians, nurse practitioners, and physician assistants. We're value physicians, value the physician-patient relationship, and create a physician community. This is what the Richmond Academy is working to do for you. Topol also makes the case that we need to prepare for the role AI can play in our future, making sure it benefits us and our patients, and not allow business people to forge the path forward. A sobering statistic he cites, those in healthcare administration have increased 3,200% in the last 4 decades. That's 3,200%, while doctors have only increased 150%. As of 2017, 34% of healthcare expenditures was on administrative work. The AMA is felt to be the organization to represent all doctors. It has around 250,000 members out of a total of about 900,000 practicing physicians. Hence, we really do not have a truly unified voice to prioritize patient care. Can we rise up and fight back? Topol feels there are plenty of examples of this, and I agree. From the smoking ban to the lead levels in Flint, Michigan, and to the doctors who pushed back against the NRA last year when they were told to stay in their lane after condemning gun violence. Dr. Marcus Sanford, the founding physician of the Union of American Physicians and Dentists in 1973, gave this reason for starting it. Hospital administrators easily manipulated physicians, treating them as if they were hired hands. Insurance companies were dealing with them as if they were employees. Government programs controlled key aspects of doctors' work, telling them how much they would be paid and what they would be paid for. That was in 1973. Does it sound familiar? The Academy has been a physician supporter in these matters as well. My first memory of the Academy involvement in my practice life was the support it gave to the physician staff during bylaws negotiations with the hospital. The legal fees were covered by RAM so that the physicians could get the valuable advice they needed. There are many important causes that we must stand up for right now, including things we will be talking to the legislature about this month: surprise billing, scope of practice, the tobacco tax, pharmacy benefit managers, and Medicaid reimbursement, to name a few. And here's just one example of how what we do matters. Following the Academy's meeting last winter, where we learned about pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs as they are known, and how they undermine a physician's ability to practice medicine while increasing the cost of medications, one of our engaged members took this information to heart. He shared it with his representative, Dr. Abigail Spanberger. As a result, a bipartisan bill was subsequently forged to improve transparency of the third-party intermediaries, and that bill was ultimately unanimously passed by the full House. This is an example of local advocacy engendering national legislation that began here at our Academy. If we are to continue to speak with one voice for the care of our patients, we must be unified. The Richmond Academy is the place to start. We can lead for change locally and statewide, partnering with the Medical Society of Virginia and nationally. We need the right tools and support to do so. We also need your input and your ideas. How do you envision improvements in the practice of medicine? We also need your membership. As I entered practice, my senior partner, Dr. Bill Holland, told me I had to join the Academy, stating it was very important. He was right. It's crucial. So my goal over the next 2 years as your president is twofold. Number one, don't mess up the first 200 years of success. And number two, to guide the Academy into the next century with the strong backbone of this organization, but an eye toward the future and how we can harness the changes to come, such as AI, for our patients' benefit. As Dr. Deal so eloquently stated in his inaugural address to the Medical Society of Virginia, my agenda is your agenda. So I ask you to consider how you can contribute to improve the quality of medicine in our backyard and beyond. I ask you to participate in meetings, legislative advocacy, and other programs. If you can't make a White Coat Day, please contact your representative and senator. We must ensure that our voice is heard among the competing agents in the field of medicine and use our voice to improve health care for all. Working toward these goals, we will guarantee to remain the physician's advocate, the patient's advocate, the physician's ally, and the community's partner for many years to come. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I get to do my first order of business as president. They didn't give me a very hard duty to do. I get to announce the Ramgagement winners. The points have been tallied and the results of the 2019 Ramgagement competition are in. And in the spirit of friendly competition, in 2016 we began what is now called Ramgagement, a friendly competition in which members earn points from various RAM events attended, as well as for bringing in potential new members and guests to meetings. So we'd like to recognize the 2019 Ramgagement Challenge Top 10 Leaderboard tonight. As I call your name, please stand and be recognized. Our leaderboards begins with Dr. Karsten Konerding, Hazel Konerding, and Mark Monahan with 105 points. We then have another three-way tie with Drs. Walter Lawrence, Jay Gillespie, and myself, finishing with 115 points. In fourth place, we have Dr. Maggie Sigmund and Dr. Quinn Lipman, tied with 120 points. And rounding out the top three, Dr. Harry Baer, Chair of the Division of Surgical Oncology with the Department of Surgery at VCU Health and Massey Cancer Center, finishing in third place with 125 points. And in close second place finish is Dr. Tovia Smith, urogynecologist with Virginia Women's Center, who tallied 160 points. And special congratulations to Dr. Owen Brody, our 2019 Ramgagement winner, for his repeat first place finish with 175 points. Our top three finishers will be receiving a date night gift card, courtesy of RAM. To everyone else, the good news is that our competition started afresh again this month with a clean slate, so it's anyone's game to lead the pack for 2020. Remember, you earn points for each RAM member event that you attend. The fastest way to bring up your tally is to refer a friend or colleague to RAM and bring a non-member colleague with you to the next event. Look forward to another friendly competition the year ahead, and check out the list of upcoming member events online or in tonight's program. Then invite a colleague to come with you. You'll be on your way. And for my last announcement of the week of this evening, if you are a 2020 and/or 2019 board member, please stand and exit the room where we will take you to get your photo. 2020 board, 2019 board, follow Laura. I'd like to thank you all. I get to use my gavel for the first time. This meeting is adjourned.